Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anastasia. I'm a mindfulness mentor, a shamanic healer, a coach. I'm also the founder of Soulbridge, a beautiful global mindfulness wellness community and an AI-powered meditation app, the first of its kind. Today, I want to talk about what stops people from actually going after their dreams and what happens when we initially get the surge of, I really want to have this, I really want to do this, and then we just can't find the courage to actually go out and take the action in the real world that is required to get this into our lives. I think a lot of the issues with wellness practitioners, with manifestation mentors, is that there's this really big focus on doing affirmations and mantras and visualizations without understanding that there needs to be action in the real world. And that takes balls. It takes courage. And a lot of the time people struggle to find it. I know this from my own personal experience because, my journey here hasn't been all that easy. I wasn't given this life. I wasn't given these opportunities. I had to make them for myself. I come from a very conservative background. My parents were from the Soviet Union, and their idea of the ideal life looked like going to university, getting a really good degree in a very applicable traditional subject, and then getting a job in a good company, which is exactly what I did. I studied law for 4 years, which I absolutely hated, and then, like a good girl, I got a job at an investment bank. What? And I did that because I was like, well, my parents are saying that this is the right thing to do, and so many other people are doing it, like all my friends are doing it, so this must be the right thing. And I didn't even imagine the misery and the internal conflict and the final stages of anxiety, panic attacks, and depression that this whole situation is going to drive me into, which is exactly what happened. And in 2016, I had to really take a hard look at how did I end up in this situation and realize that I was the only person in charge of my life and in charge of my well-being and my happiness, and nobody else is responsible for making sure that I have that. Nobody else is responsible for giving me those opportunities, for making me feel like I am living the life that I want to be living. And if I'm unhappy, if I'm miserable, that is my responsibility. I got here and it is my job to get myself out of here. Now, this was a really interesting situation. Obviously, I'm working in London. I'm working for this really prestigious company. I'm, living in a really nice neighborhood. I'm friends with a lot of great people. We're going out to all these nice places. And then I started thinking, I don't want this life. I want to live a life of creativity, of purpose, of impact. And I found an opportunity in Africa to volunteer for a marine conservation foundation, which I was so excited about because I love the ocean. I'm very passionate about conservation and nature in general. And so I was like, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna leave my life in London and I'm gonna go to Africa to volunteer for 3 months. And when I said this to my friends, they were like, you're crazy. And some of them said, I would love to do something like this, but I would never have the courage to do so. And then I realized that courage actually is a major factor in our ability to go after the things that we want. And a lot of people say that, you are so courageous. People tell me, you're so courageous, you're so brave. How did you do this? You moved from one country to another country. You started this business, you started that business. You're going out, you're promoting this stuff, you're talking about these things. Are you not afraid? And I am definitely afraid. I was so petrified and scared and nervous and worried about what's going to happen next. But I found the foundation and the stability and the support within myself and within the community around me. So, how do you find that internal support, that internal sense of stability and confidence, and this knowingness that you're going to be fine no matter what life throws at you? I find that there are several things that we can develop and cultivate that allow ourselves to have that faith. Number one is being in touch with yourself truly. Being in touch with your intuition, hearing yourself, understanding what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and not betraying yourself and talking yourself out of it. Too often I see people who are in relationships that they're not happy in, they're in jobs that they're not happy in, their health is in a state where they're not happy, they're not feeling good in their body. And they're in these structures in their life that keep them really miserable and betraying themselves because they know that deep down inside they're not happy, but they took themselves out of whatever change needs to happen because they feel like this is the right thing to do, this is normal. You know, you're self-sacrificing for other people's good or for your status or for whatever else, all these other reasons that our brain makes up or the matrix wants us to believe that are real. But true happiness and true knowing of yourself comes from when you can hear yourself and when you stop betraying yourself. When you stop telling yourself that, no, I'm still going to do this because I'm responsible, or I have this obligation, or this is what is supposed to happen, this is how you're supposed to be, this is what a person in my role and my status is supposed to be doing or feeling. It's such bullshit. Like, the amount of times that I hear this coming out of people's mouths, in conversation with friends, meeting people, or when I'm working with clients, these are programs that we have acquired from our society, from our upbringing, from our experience, and they don't serve you. They don't serve you because they keep you from understanding and being in touch with the one person that you actually need to be in touch with, and that's yourself. And I honestly, truly believe that the only way that we can get courage is by learning to deactivate those programs, learning to reactivate this connection with ourselves, truly hearing ourselves, listening to our intuition, and that being your guiding light instead of everybody else who says how things should be. Now, number two is cultivating a peace of mind. When you're going through stressful situations, when you're going through change, of course, your brain is going to be firing up on all cylinders. The reptilian brain hates change because why would we want to change anything? We are safe, we're alive, we're warm, we're fed. Why are you going to Africa again? This is the moment where you need to realize that you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're bigger than that, and that you have control over this process that happens in your head, that happens in your body, all these hormones and emotions that are circulating, and you cultivate that sense of control, peace, and focus through meditation. This is the only way that you can do it, because our brain is so scattered and so reactive to the external environment. If we don't teach it and we don't provide a sense of discipline for it, we are forever going to be at the mercy of external circumstance. And that doesn't serve you, because when something happens, and life always happens, we always have challenges, we always have, things that can be small and very triggering, and large things that can be very upsetting that don't necessarily relate to us personally, but our attention and our energy and our emotion goes there, and we commiserate and we get involved and we talk about it and we think about it and we ruminate on it at night. And all that does is just create a sense of anxiety, a sense of insecurity, a sense of fear, a sense of the world not being a safe place, a sense of us being too small to make any change, a sense of us being unable to make any change. And when you start cultivating that sense of peace through meditation, you actually learn to not react. You learn to see your thoughts, you learn to see your emotions, and you learn to take control of them and switch them before they take over you. This is a lot of the stuff that we do in shamanic work, which is switching states. People come to me in, one state when they're anxious, they don't know what to do, they feel very unsure, scattered. This energy that's kind of like it's everywhere, And through practices together, we get them back into their center, we get them grounded, we calm their vibrations down, and that allows people to breathe, first of all, and second of all, to really see things clearly. Whether that's putting an end to a relationship or putting an end to a job where you're truly unhappy, and just being okay with it, being okay with the uncertainty that comes after, because you know that you have yourself, you know that you're going to be fine no matter what, because you are. And trusting that process and trusting the change and trusting yourself to make that step. I think that's super important. And finally, number 3, I think it's just having this trust in the world. It's having this knowing, deep, deep knowing that we are all connected. Everything is one. And in this matrix, it's a game. And our mind is in control of what happens around us. And there are so many different ways and tricks that you can play around with and programming your brain to attract things into your life and to manifest events and people and circumstances that propel you into a future, into your best possible reality that your monkey brain is just not even capable of fathoming and creating. The world is an incredible place. It's a playground. It's our training facility. We have come here as infinite souls, as creators, to learn, to evolve, to develop. And it saddens me so much when people forget that and they just have themselves stuck in this rat race. They have themselves stuck in these relationships that they're unhappy with. They have themselves stuck in this idea of self-victimization and of being, in the wrong place, in the wrong relationship, in the wrong job, whatever the hell, blaming everybody else and forgetting that they are actually, in fact, in charge of where their life is right now and where it's going to go. And I know that there's a lot of fear, and there's obviously a lot going on right now in the world that doesn't make you feel like it's a safe place, and the news makes a very good point of making sure that everybody's reminded of this every day, 24/7. My advice to you, stop reading the news. Stop listening to it. Find yourself a couple of channels on Instagram or on the internet that are non-mainstream, that are going to give you positive news, that are going to give you, I have a subscription to an Instagram account that tells me all about the conservation news and the progress and all the new technologies and the startups and the projects that are happening in this space. And I love that. And I haven't watched the news, honestly, in 15 years. When I realized how this works and how my attention and my energy and my focus and my inner peace is destroyed by watching the news constantly, I stopped. And honestly, I haven't missed out on anything. I don't feel like I'm not aware of what's going on in the world. If there is really something important, I am absolutely aware of it because, people, my friends tell me, my family tells me, no way to not know. But there's no need to watch the news. Absolutely no need. So do yourself a favor and stop watching it. And you will realize that the world is a much safer place than you thought it was. And when I left London and I went to Mozambique, there was nothing on the internet that I could find. Mozambique isn't a tourist destination. The only thing that you would find about Mozambique if you Googled it was articles about militia and conflicts and civil wars almost. And I was like, oh my goodness, am I really doing this? Okay. But I came there and it was beautiful. It was stunning. The nature was gorgeous. We live in this small, tiny seaside community where everybody was super friendly and everybody knew each other. And there was such a sense of support. And I got to work with the Ministry of Tourism, and we got to travel around the country and shoot amazing content in these hotels that I didn't even think existed. You know, 5-star resorts that are like $1,000 or $2,000 a night. And I got to experience that side of Mozambique. And, you know, after that rolled into something else that developed into me creating more content and becoming, you know, a professional content creator, shooting 360 videos, getting seriously into VR, winning awards for the content that I shot in Mozambique at, you know, this was the VR festival in 2018, and I just submitted my piece of work, and there was other people in the category like Nat Geo and I think it was BBC or something, and my piece of content won. And it was like, this is crazy. You know, this doesn't happen if you sit in an office and you don't give the world even the opportunity to show you what is possible. So there was obviously a lot of insecurity. There was a lot of difficult moments. There was a lot of not knowing what happens next. But the not knowing is a beautiful space, because if you are in that space with a peaceful mind and a connection to yourself and a knowing that the world is going to take care of you no matter what, anything becomes possible. And it is. So that's the message that I want to leave you with today. That if you can think about it, there's a reality where that's possible for you. And you shouldn't let other people's negativity, fear of being misunderstood, or fear of being judged, or fear of regret, or insecurity around the safety of the world stop you from going after that. So I hope this video gave you some sort of insight. I hope it inspired you. I hope it gave you a bit of guidance on what you can do. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know what your experience is, what you think, what your struggles are as well with this stuff. If you like this video, if you find it useful, please hit that like button. Share it with your friends, with your loved ones who need to hear this message. And of course, subscribe to my channel. I am going to be putting out more content like this, more inspirational mindfulness content that inspires you to live your best life. I wish you a great day, a great morning, a great evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next video.